Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Pastor Jeff.
Good morning, Andy. How are you today?
Pretty darn good, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah, more sleep than usual. That was really nice. I had more sleep.
More sleep is always good.
Yeah, all it took was going to bed earlier than I usually do.
Someone once said early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Ah.
I wonder,
it's funny.
I think that was Ben Franklin, right?
Was it? It almost sounds like a proverb in a sense, but a nice path of truth right there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, feeling good. So here we are. This is episode 27.
27. And hey, there's some new changes that you pulled off this week, right?
Can you believe it? A day in the history books. That was this week. Yes. So our podcast, the Overflow podcast, here we are. It is now, like you were just saying, the new news. It is now available on both Spotify podcasts as well as Apple Music podcasts.
Wow, we're big time.
Yeah,
we're big time now.
Now, so like we were saying in the previous week, that there are people that are outside of our region, and maybe YouTube isn't accessible to them, or maybe the
hard
Wi-Fi,
to find, or whatever.
So now we're just a little more accessible.
There you go.
Cool. But what it also means is that what we say, it needs to carry itself with just our speech, not just like I use a lot of my hand motions. We're pointing at things.
Right. Oh, wow. So, it's just audio.
For some of them. Yeah. Exactly. But so here we are. This is episode 27. Like I said, the Overflow podcast. Here we are in Brighton, Michigan at the Well Church. Yep.
And we're staring out a window, and it's bright, sunshiny day. It's
beautiful.
Been warm.
Yeah.
Really warm.
Very
lately.
warm.
So,
high 90s and stuff. Yeah.
I know.
Humid.
And now I'm going to Mexico, where predicted high are going to be close to 100. So go from hot to hotter.
What's going on in Mexico? Share with us.
Well, we're taking a group from here at the Well. There'll be 15 of us. We've been partnering with a pastor down there. His name's Desiderio. And he has a couple of churches. The main church is called Divine Light, Luz Divina. And we're going down to do some ministry work with them, operate their summer VBS program, do some building and helping spruce up the church, and just doing whatever they need down there. And so, we're going down for about a week.
That is so cool. So that is a mission trip.
Yeah, it is a mission trip. Yep.
And I love the history behind this particular place. So Desiderio, this place is a place that your family has a history with.
Yeah, so my mom and dad were missionaries. They started with an organization called World Servants, and then they broke away and started their own organization called Vámonos, which in Spanish means
let's go.
Let's go. So you guys might not know this, but Andy is fluent in Spanish. You lived a couple years in Costa Rica.
That's
and
right, yeah.
You want to learn Spanish, live in the culture, right?
You have to.
And then, so they became missionaries there. They built a camp that is used by American churches as well as Mexican churches. American churches as a hub or a base of operations for missions, and for Mexican churches to use as a retreat center. So, and it's still being used. They went down in the mid-90s to do that, and it's still being used for that today.
Wow.
We're going to go stay there. When I was doing student ministry back in the 90s and early 2000s, we went down and actually built the first dormitory on the property, and we might be staying in it again. So this is a family trip. So we have little Callie that is like 6 years old. She's going all the way up to, probably shouldn't say what the oldest person is, but far older than 6. And everybody in between. We got teenagers going, we got adults going, so it's going to be fun.
Wow, that is so cool. Just the testament and the fruit of work that has been done decades in the past.
Yeah.
And now you get to literally, okay, we're going to experience this. We're going to see it. We're going to live in this place that my parents helped to build. My parents, I mean your parents when I say that,
my parents, right. And here's another cool thing that this year, the person that is directing the VBS program is now an adult, but when they were a kid, they went to the VBS programs we were doing. So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Speaking of fruit of a life well lived and fruit of missions work and evangelistic work and things like that. We do have some sad news for those of us who remain on this world, but joyful news for this gentleman who has passed on from this world. Today is the day that John MacArthur has passed away. Yeah. 86 years old, I believe it was, and he passed from pneumonia. But yeah, he has such an impact, a broad, worldwide impact through his ministry. And, when you mentioned the name John MacArthur, we were kind of chatting about this earlier. You can also throw in names like R.C. Sproul or N.T. Wright or John Piper or did you have another?
Tim Keller.
Tim Keller, yeah. These are some greats of our generation.
Piper?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that because Piper, self-proclaimed Christian hedonist, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But he's very straightforward when talking about that, and he's like, yes, I will back that up. I will defend that stance, and I do proclaim that for the Christians within his realm. He is very for that Christian hedonism. Okay. Maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe we won't. Who knows? But either way, here we are. We're overflowing from our Sunday service, and getting all that little news out of the way. Here we are. So this, A Voice for Hardship was this previous Sunday, and we were really spending some time landing in Psalm 34 this past Sunday.
Yep, hanging out in Psalm 34, which has not just a lot of message within it, but the historical context that we're given with David kind of pretending like he's losing his mind. Madman, as he was called. Just as you start looking at how he operated in a time of hardship, and then what the psalm that flows out of it, I think, is really profound when we start talking about how do we handle hardship as children of the Most High Almighty God.
Yeah, so true. That is part of, maybe not part, but the meat of what this summer psalm series has been, which is giving us a voice throughout the different afflictions of our lives. Right. And as we see here in this psalm, many are the afflictions of the righteous.
Yeah, it's not will affliction, like, might it happen, in case it happens? No, there's a lot of affliction. And even Jesus says, hey, in this world, you will have trouble. Not you might have trouble. You will have trouble. It's part of living under the curse, right? We live under the curse and the ramifications of the curse of sin, right? Sin has come. God has given the curse for sin, which is we're going to labor. We're going to have birth pains. We're going to have all of this strife between us. That's just what brought out. Yeah. Because we made a decision. Humans, the first humans, Adam and Eve, made a decision, and we kind of keep making the decision. Who are we gonna let run this show? Are we gonna run the show, or are we gonna let God run the show? More often than not, we elect ourselves.
Yeah, and there are some great promises as well as some warnings within this Psalm 34 for how you choose to live out your life and what the ramifications are for living in either way. Right. Really good ramifications or not so great ones.
For sure.
Yeah. And I believe there is a proverb that is out there that says conflict between mankind or conflict within mankind is pretty much as common or is as the sparks rise up from the fire, right? Yeah. So yes, affliction and conflict and strife and hardship, and that's while we have this voice for hardship. So
voice for hardship.
You're going through hardship, and here are some things that we can think about, and here are some ways that we can respond. So what we're saying is taste and see that the Lord is good. Yeah. The Lord is good. And what does it mean to taste it? Well, get in there, try it, see. Right. Yes. And so hardship, you started off the sermon with hardship. That is our reality of our life. And that's what we're saying right now. Conflict is arising and many are the afflictions, etc. So yes, get used to it, unfortunately.
Well, and even beyond conflict, right? I'm thinking of this past week, I had the pleasure or the honor, I guess, of doing a funeral. It's always an honor. We were just talking about the idea of John MacArthur's passing. And, death, I don't care if it's expected or unexpected. That creates a hardship in the family. I just think of the family of the funeral that I did and the hardship that now they're dealing with all of the stuff, the fallout of a funeral, right? Yeah. And what brought that on was an illness and no, we never say, oh, they died right on time. They always died too early, right? And so there's hardship. There's hardship. I think of several people that I've talked to over the past, year that, they're having some financial hardship. There's one couple I know that has to move. They have to move. They're not choosing to it. I mean, moving stinks when you choose to do it. When you're not, when it's not your choice, it's hardship, right?
Yeah.
And so not just conflict, not just things that happen between individuals, but this life is hard.
Yeah.
You go to work, it's hard. You come home and maintain your house, it's hard. You're dealing with, pestilence, and you're dealing with stuff that is attacking you, and just the way to live out this world, it's hard.
Yep. We have a tendency in those hardships to take all of that weight or burden on ourselves and try to fix it by our own might or willpower.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what David did, right? When Saul decides, puts the word out, and Jonathan, Saul's son, realizes that Saul wants to kill him, Jonathan says, you got to get out of here. And so David takes matters into his own hands, forgetting the fact that God said, you will be king.
Right.
He forgot all about that. If God said you will be king, then apparently Saul's not going to be able to kill you, because if you're dead, you can't be king.
Right, exactly.
Right? So we kind of lose sight of that promise. And so what David does is he takes matters into his own hands. He goes to a priest in the village of Nob and says, all right, and lies to him, right? Fabricates this whole story of why he's even there.
Right.
Then he goes to Gath, where Goliath is.
That's
By
right.
the way, carrying Goliath's sword.
Yeah. Do you guys have any weapons here? Well, the only thing we have is behind that ephod, and that's Goliath's sword. You're the one who took that sword, right, so you can have it.
And then he goes to Goliath's hometown, carrying Goliath's sword.
Exactly.
And he wonders, I wonder if they're going to recognize me.
Yep. The servants of the king recognize him immediately. Isn't that David that everybody was singing and dancing and talking about?
Yeah. And so what does he do? He makes up, he pretends to be something he's not. He fabricates another lie.
Yeah.
And what happens then is all those priests that helped him in Nob, they end up getting killed. And he's brought back to the reality of his choice to take that responsibility, matters into his own hands, has really had radical ramifications to the people around him.
Yeah.
And then Psalm 34 is written.
Right. And thank God for that psalm, because we struggle with hardship all the time.
Right.
Now, so if we're to deal with hardship in a way that is righteous, if we're to deal with hardship in a way that is actually effective or prescribed, I could say, from the Bible, what do we do?
Well, I think David tells us in verse 11, he says, "Come, O children, and listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord." Now, fear of the Lord is not a very popular thought process today. We love to talk about, God loves us and he's gracious toward us and he's my friend, he's my Abba, he's my daddy, right? And we have these really, I would say, familiar, very casual relationship with God.
Right.
But there's this sense of awe and esteem that fear brings, reverence that fear brings. Like when you walk into the room, if you were to walk in a room and Jesus was standing here, there would be an immediate reverence. And I love the Mercy Me song, I Can Only Imagine, and the mindset, like, will I stand before you, or to my knees will I fall? Will I even be able to speak at all?
Right.
That this sense of when I get face to face, I'm going to be like, oh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fear of the Lord. And oftentimes we fear mankind. We fear this world. We fear ourselves more.
Absolutely.
Than we fear God.
Isn't that what Saul did anyways, where he feared the men more than he feared God, and then his position was removed from him?
Right. Exactly. And that's what David did when Saul decided he wants to kill him. David all of a sudden was more afraid of Saul, revered Saul more than he revered God.
Yeah. So the response, I guess I could say, is that when we do what is prescribed, which is, okay, taste and see that the Lord is good. There are amazing promises that are here that we can receive. And an outflow of those promises really is a peace that goes beyond our natural human understanding.
Right. It doesn't mean, peace that passes all understanding isn't this peace that, everything's going to go away. But it's this general, hey, I know I'm going to get through this. I think of the scene with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Wow.
Right. They're in front of King Nebuchadnezzar, the most powerful man on the planet at this moment in time. And they said, they've been commanded to bow down. And they said, we're not going to bow down to you. We're just not going to do it. And he says, if you don't bow down to me, what God is there that can deliver you out of my hand? And their response is amazing. Their response is, well, our God can deliver us out of your hand, number one. Number two, our God will deliver us out of your hand. And number three, even if he doesn't, we're not bowing down to you. The idea is the deliverance may come in our death. And either way, we're not in your hand because we're going to be ultimately in his hand. And we know the rest of the story, right? In the middle of the furnace, they're protected. The pinions, if you will, of God surround them, and they're not even burned.
It's amazing. It truly is amazing. And so they did the right response, which is fear God more than fearing man.
Right.
And yes, then they were delivered, whether it didn't matter for them if it was going to be in this life or in the next. But that is one of the promises that we see here is I sought the Lord and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears.
Right.
So you have no reason to be afraid.
Right.
You seek the Lord first.
Seek the Lord. And I love the fact that he says he delivered me from all my fears, right? He acknowledges that he has fears. Yeah. It's a scary thing. If Saul, the king of the country, says, I want to kill you, that's scary.
Right.
Right? It's a scary thing. But through that, God delivers us, brings us through those fears.
Yep. Exactly. There's even, later on in Psalm 34, it says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Once again, blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his saints. Oops, what I wanted to say was just before that in 7. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fears them and delivers them. So there is this, like you said, encampment, the pinions surrounded kind of a situation. This talk is incredible. And there's also this dichotomy that is spoken of within this psalm that says, the ones that are the unrighteous, like the young lions, they're going to suffer want. They're going to suffer hunger. They're going to suffer this. They're going to have all these needs, and they're not going to be satisfied. But those who seek the Lord will lack no good thing.
Right. And I think we do confuse, I think we brought this up Sunday, we do confuse prosperity with provision.
Okay. Please expand.
Well, I have a pantry in my house. And I'll go into that pantry, and it's shelves lined with food. And I'll go, I got nothing to eat.
That's so funny. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a prosperous thing. I've got all this food. And what I'm really saying is I have nothing that I either feel like eating right now or I feel like putting the work in to actually cook.
Exactly.
What I mean is I want to go to my shelf, pick up some item, and eat it right now. Right? So, that's prosperity living, right? That's way beyond provision. Right. Because provision is I have my lunch today, then I have my dinner today. And that food shows up.
Daily bread.
Right. We're going to a space this next week that people there, they don't have the prosperity we do. They don't have walk-in pantries in their home filled with food. They go to the store and they buy what they need that day. And it's why Jesus says in the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread. But we live in such a prosperous world that we think that because I'm not as prosperous as maybe someone else that has a better house, a nicer car, goes on better vacations, their kids' teeth are always straight and all those kinds of things, that, hey, God hasn't provided for me.
Right.
Because we confuse prosperity with provision.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've heard there's a couple things there that we could talk about, but I've heard the story of the person who, the lazy person who is hungry at the same time. Like you're saying, you go to the pantry, and then you check, there's nothing good in there. You go to the refrigerator, you go and you check in there, and then you lower your expectations and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah, right.
So there's that. But at the same time, as we're talking about Mexico or these quote unquote, second world or third world countries, I lived in it myself, where you go and you have your meal, like you saying, and for me, literally, it was the family I lived with and whatnot. We would make spaghetti, and then the next day, the spaghetti got fried and it turned into some other type of a food, and then the next day you add some pinto beans to it, and then it turns into another type of a meal, and you're just like, hey, this is what we got, but we're provided for.
Because God is you've been fed, you've been nourished, and you're still here.
Yeah.
It wasn't filet.
Right. Filet spaghetti is what it was. Yeah. No, exactly. So pretty wild. But yeah, so what we see here in this Psalm 34, really, like I was saying, is some direction. And that's turning away from evil and turning towards good, turning away from strife and turning your mind away from those things, capturing every thought, having the renewal of the mind, and turning towards the peace of the Lord.
Yeah, I think as you say that, one of the things that comes in my brain is, I think there's an acknowledgement. Like when he talks about he's delivered them out of their fears and those kinds of things, I think there is it's an acknowledgement that this is hard. There's an acknowledgement that I have fear. There's an acknowledgement that I have desires. There's an acknowledgement of that. But how am I going to act on that? Am I going to go fight and get my own provision? Am I going to fight and go get my own desires? And I think there's a level of that. We're not advocating just sit on your couch and go, God, all right, it's up to you, right?
Right.
There's a level that we have to move. But at the same time, the question I think we have to answer is, who do you desire? What do you desire most? Where do you return to in the midst of the hardship? Is it pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go get it? Or is there all right, God, how am I supposed to handle this? What are the promises that you've given me that I need to rest in as I move forward? I just think, what would have happened if when David hears that Saul wants to kill him, what would have happened if he said, you know what? Good for him. Because here's what I know God has for me. He's already anointed me king. Which means no matter what Saul tries to do, he will not be successful.
Right.
I love when Daniel is being told by Nebuchadnezzar, you can't pray. You can't pray to anybody but me. And so it says in Daniel that what Daniel did was he did what he always does. And what he always did, he went to his window and he prayed. Because that's what he does. That's what God wanted him to do. That's what it means to live in God. And then ramifications happen.
Yeah.
But who am I fearing? Am I afraid of Nebuchadnezzar? Am I revering him first and foremost? Am I revering man and their opinion of me? Or am I revering God and his promises toward me? These promises of compassion. I love that when he talks about, hey, when the cries of the righteous happen in verse 17, the Lord hears.
Yeah.
He hears us. There's this level of compassion. And I love what it says at the end. The Lord redeems the life of his servants. None of those who take refuge in him will be condemned. There is no condemnation.
That's right.
So there's compassion. There's no condemnation. There is strengthening when we step back and say, all right, God, what are the promises you have for me? And I'm going to live in that, and I'm going to function that way rather than fearing all the other stuff in my life.
That's great. And what you're saying is very applicable for our next sermon series and our fall, actually, is are you going to focus on the problems? Are you going to give the problems all of the weight to determine how your life is going to go? Are you going to say, okay, Saul, I'm going to fear you, and here's a problem? Or are you going to rely on the promises of God? Right. And so what I'm getting to is, yes, our fall sermon series has been decided. Here it is.
Yep, here it is.
Yep, we talked about it once
unveiling?
before.
No, I think
we did it once before we talked about it. But Is it promises or problems? And basically, which one are you going to be focusing on? And so, it is interesting. One last thing, I guess, with this particular psalm is that it does say that many are the afflictions of the righteous. However, the Lord delivers them or saves them from them all. But then later on, it says affliction will slay the wicked.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the other side of that. So if you're wicked, if you're not righteous, if you don't seek after or pursue the peace of the Lord and so on, those afflictions will take you out.
They'll take you out.
Yep. So if you're focusing on the problems, they're going to take you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whatever you focus on, it's going to be magnified like a magnifying glass. Right. You can focus closer and so on. But so we have hardship as the reality of our lives, and we're talking about, fear then is the path. Fear of the Lord is the path towards overcoming these hardships, overcoming these problems.
Yeah, or getting through them, being delivered from them. Again, I love Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with me. God is with us walking through the hardship. He knows it's coming. He knows what curses are in play. And he just promises to get us through them. Mm-hmm. Doesn't say it'll be easy. Doesn't say it won't bring fear. Doesn't say it won't do any of that. But in the midst of all that, you can have peace. In the midst of all that, you can find compassion. And at the end of the day, if you are operating out of a fear of the Lord, out of a reverence above all as the Almighty Most High God, there is no condemnation, even when you fail.
That is a promise that we can bank our lives on and our soul on.
Because David messed up.
Yeah.
He didn't operate well.
We've all messed up.
He's called the man after God's own heart.
Mm-hmm. Wow. How does that work, right? Yeah, exactly.
Because when it was revealed to him, he returned.
Yep.
And God is growing us. It means we'll fail over and over and over again. That's how God grows us, so that next time we can operate differently. That's why I think he says, listen, kids.
Yeah.
Listen to me. I want to teach you about the fear of the Lord. I wish I would have learned this, before the whole Saul thing.
Right. Oh, the regret that David must have felt time and time again. We know that because we do it ourselves. Right. We feel regret for things that either the way of the righteous or the way of the wicked. And in fact, that's my segue into talking about next week's sermon, where you guys will be gone.
I won't be here.
Yep.
Nope.
It'll be Pastor Matt Bruner, and he is going to actually speak on Psalm number 1, which is the way of the righteous and the way of the wicked. So we're going to learn about that. We're going to have a voice for clarity.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is going to be exciting. So that's next week. And for those who are tuning in from outside of our region or realm, if you want to make your way to this area, we are in Brighton, Michigan, here in southern Michigan, and our service will be at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so that'll be this coming Sunday, the 20th of July.
And it's Porkapalooza, so smoked pork, pulled pork for barbecue July.
I love it.
I'm bummed out. I will miss it, but I'll be back for brisket bonanza. So there's that.
Always good. Yep. Well, thank you all so very much for listening and tuning in. Whichever platform you're on now, that's pretty darn exciting.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, very good. Well, have a great rest of your day. Pastor Jeff, thanks so much for the chat.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
See ya.